I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. People hire me for no BS job search, coaching, and career advice globally because I make the process of finding work and succeeding at it much easier. Years ago, when I still did recruiting, a client of mine called me up frustrated that he wasn't getting results on his interviews. Other than the fact I was annoyed that he hadn't come to me for help looking for a job, he came to me for advice about what he was doing wrong on interviews. I invited him to my home, we sat down, and I said, we're going to do a mock interview here. Great. So I started off as most interviews do. Tell me about yourself, I asked him. 3 minutes later, he hadn't stopped. And he had gone far past the point of tell me about yourself, to the point where he was proactively answering questions that I hadn't asked him. I hit time out for him. And I said, I'm confused here. Do you remember my question was, tell me about yourself? What's all this other stuff? And he apologized and yada, yada, yada. But I then paused and I said, I now know what the problem is. He goes, really? Yes. You're bored, and thus you are boring. What has happened is you've been asked these questions so many times that you're frustrated and annoyed and regurgitating facts, and you're not acting your lines. I compared it to the play Cats on Broadway, a show that I really didn't like, but I appreciated the fact that the actors in the cast, 8 performances a week, 6 days a week, were selling those lines that I found so uninteresting. They were selling them that it was like opening night. And for each of you, I want to remind you that your job is to act like this is the first time you've ever heard this question, even though you've answered it a million times before. You need to be as theatrical as I'm being now to sell yourself and your enthusiasm and passion to the audience so they get you and they appreciate you. And you start to practice how to interview after that. But the real thing is, you've got to be proactively selling yourself and selling your lines as though it's opening night for a show on Broadway, and this is the first time you've ever said these words, even though you've practiced answering these questions. Hope you found this helpful. I'm Jeff Altman. My website is jobsearch.community. There is a ton of great information there. I've got free stuff on the homepage, plus my video courses, books, and guides, plus different tiers of access to me where you can get your questions answered, get me on a couple of Zoom calls a month, or do individual or group coaching with me. Hope you have a terrific day, and be great.